Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, glad to have you here. Oh look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hey! There we go. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is great to have you here. Yes, I'm running behind. I had to go to the store and grab something to drink because I just had nothing here at all. I am running out of everything here and feel like I'm going crazy over here. So many things going on, and I don't have any food in the house. So, all right. So I went out and uncharacteristically got an energy drink because I really felt like I needed it. All right. Good morning, Mike. Good morning. Good morning, Nathan and BGD. Good morning. Titter Pig is here. Thank you very much for waiting on me. Better with bacon. Good morning. Why am I vanishing when I put the... I do not understand what StreamYard has done. I used to love StreamYard because it just worked. And now, like every time I try to do something, like it no longer works. It no longer just functions like you're expecting it to work. Why? See, BGD says need... See, what happened? What is going on here? Let's see. Here, what happens if I do this? See, what kind of ridiculousness is that? I didn't change anything over here. Hey, Robert. Hey, Michael. See what is going on here? They have definitely made this worse because it used to just work, and now it does. I don't know what. How ridiculous is that? Well, anyway, all right. So let's see if we can bring something up here because BGD sent me some slides here about the about Crit, the community-run infinite tabletop that is going on, which is the online gaming convention between 21st of June and the 28th of June. And there is a lot to be done for that. Let me see if I can bring this up. Let's go right here. Okay. All right. So there I am. All right. So let's see. So this is it. So Game With Us online, 21st to the 28th of June, 2025. It's the week-long, round-the-clock, free-to-play, fan-run, online indie role-playing game event. Open and welcome to everyone. Over 100 sessions of index card RPG, Crown and Skull, Easy D6, Shadow Dark, Grit Fantasy RPG, and other indie systems. A safe, fun, easygoing game environment for every session, stewarded by experienced game masters. Game sessions hosted by our special guest GM, Easy D6 author DM Scotty McFarland. Event registration opens the 21st of April. So that's later this month. Details at game@crit.com if you want to find it. Games are being organized right now. And let's see. So over here, we got special guest GM, DM Scotty McFarland, host GMs and administrators. BGD, Christian's there. Christian Bynum right there. That's BGD right there. So lots of different people. You're going to see me on here. Look, I'm right here too. So he's been, BGD's been hooking me up so that we've got game sessions. So I've got game sessions right here. So I am also on this list. And then he even made up events here. So there's a lot of work that we got to do here. And especially, I got to do, and especially up here for the morning grind. That we'll be working on because we're going to run a Tales of Rabavania game here using the index card RPG. We already kind of started working on perhaps an index card RPG adaptation for that. I almost started working on that this morning on the morning grind, but I wasn't quite ready for that. So maybe next time, since I was running kind of behind anyway. But we're working on an index card RPG adaptation there. That will be on Sunday, the 22nd of June, 4 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. All right. So it's going to be a one shot. I mean, all of this is going to be like one shot gaming. So we're going to run that in the index card RPG environment. And then over here, we will run the Cultists RPG, the community run, which we designed here on the stream. Community run Infinite Tabletop. That is on Wednesday, the 25th of June, 8:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Oh, that's Eastern. Eastern. Is this also in Eastern over here? What time zone are we in? Yes. Okay. That's 4 p.m. to 7 in Eastern times. This is set up in Eastern. And then over here, Wednesday, June 5th, 8 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern right there. So there we go. So the registration is not open yet. Registration is not open yet, but it will be on April 21st. It says at game@crit.com. So there we go. Thank you, BGD, for sending that. Let me take that down. Thank you. So there we go. Hey, Philip. Let's see. So there we go. So anyway, so that's what's coming up. And so we're going to be working on that adaptation, that some Rabavania stuff here in the coming weeks here. We're not going to be talking about the actual game. I don't want to do any of the actual game that's being run, because there won't be spoilers or anything like that. But we need to come up with all of our stats for the different kinds of characters. And then coming up with and then I'll come up with the game to be run. It'll be a one shot. Okay, thank you very much for putting those together. Oh, so yes. So Philip says, wanted to see my beautiful pictures that BGD made. So yep, so there we just put them up. So thank you very much. Hey, good to see you here, Philip. So I figured that what we would do here today, I wanted to work on some magic item cards. We were working on initiative cards last time. And so I've got those ready for when we play with the boys. But I wanted to think more about treasure cards and magic item cards. So we will see. Oh, yeah, we do need to breathe and sip. So here we go. Let's breathe. I went and got my energy drink because I just needed it this morning. Hey, and then what we should do is we should also give out a few more memberships. So we'll do that. Let's do breathe and sip, and then we'll give out some memberships over here. That way I don't forget. Okay. All right. Let's take 2 deep breaths, deep inhales, and then full exhales. 2 deep breaths, complete inhales, deep inhales, complete exhales, and then take a sip of your favorite beverage this morning. In my case, energy drink. All right. Let's go. And sip. All right. That is pretty good. I mean, there's been a lot going on over here. I think they are going to be a lot of fun. Thank you very much for helping me get these set up. Dice Tale says treasure cards and magic item cards are so much fun. We're going to talk about how to even do them here, because we got to think about the purpose here. Let's gift some memberships. Oh, right here. Let's go 5 right here. Magic item cards can be really handy for new folks or players overloaded with loot. Who did these go out to? Let's see here. Cigar Gangster, Robert Styles Click, Tim Davis, Unholy Cow. Have we seen Unholy Cow here in the comments? And ye livest awfulness. All right, well, welcome. I know. So, like Philip says that this is why I like them. Philip says tactile feel of cards and something to fidget with or focus on rather than your phone stand. When I rather than your phone is ideal. Especially when the boys get some kind of treasure or some kind of loot. Here we go. It's on the. I like to be able to hand them some kind of card. Oh, Ryan, were you? I saw a comment that I needed to reply to, which I didn't get to last night on the channel. That was about table talk, because it may have been you who wrote in on that. Yeah, some of the table talks they started off and they were often very RPG focused, and then the table talks became more about stories and storytelling. And so as a result, I created a new channel for Table Talk, but I didn't want to put all of the RPG stuff over on the new channel. So I've been slowly kind of going through as I can and posting some of the clips and things like that to the clips that are relevant to tabletop role playing here on this channel again, so they can be found. Went through and did a bunch of clipping and have been trying to get those out. And that way I have more dedicated stories and stuff on Table Talk. And then the parts of Table Talk that's about stories and storytelling on its own channel. And then this channel is more about tabletop games. And I think that's working very well. But if you do want to find just the Table Talk channel, the Table Talk channel is on its own channel. Let me get you a link to it. Table Talk Geekverse. If you look up Table Talk Geekverse on YouTube, it's the first hit. Table Talk channel. But what I also need to do is I need to be sure. Oh, that was not a link. Here's the link. That was the whole description I copied into the chat. Right there. There's the link. But I do need to be sure that the whole conversations and not just the clips are up. I do need to do that. And I need to do a better job of making sure that I link to the whole conversations. I don't know why I didn't even think about that when I was putting up, like, especially Justin Alexander's. I'm not going to be able to look at that today, but I will. I will next time I put up a video to make sure that's there, and I'll write back to that comment. Still kind of sick. Okay. What I'm not even sure what the name of this hat is called. I just picked this up. Like I see them in a lot of places, and I see a lot of people walking around with them. Actually, this one I may have gotten at Target, but I've gotten them at different department stores. I think some people call these a taxi driver's hat. So yeah, I need to do a better job of that. I'm still trying to get reorganized here, but yeah. So what I need to have, probably, if you look on the live tab, and on this channel, well, I don't know, it's probably not very well organized, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right, so let's let's talk about magic item cards. Because we went through there and we were looking at this game I'm going to run for my brothers, not my brothers, my nephews, the brothers. And we got different kinds of, we made a list of all the different kinds of magic items that are going to be in this game. And I would really like to be able to hand them cards for it. And I was trying to decide what the best way is to do this, especially because we were talking about how to handle item identification and what we actually need to worry about. Here, let me see if I can get the auxiliary camera up right here. Because I would really like to have some really nice magic item cards, and I'd really like to have some great equipment cards too. I mean, I really want the equipment to I would really love good equipment cards because I really haven't found them. We have gone over some cards here. What do we really like? I mean, I like box sets and I do like cards, but I'm often very disappointed by the cards that we get. Oh, flat cap or ivy cap. Okay, thank you, BGD. Kangol in England made them famous in the 50s, but they've been around for much longer. I didn't know that. Yes, haberdashery discussion. Yes. Okay, so let me bring up the auxiliary camera. And see if StreamYard will, There we go. All right. Hang on. Just 1 second. Let me blow my nose.
Oh, it's time for a Yeti hug break. Yeti hug break. Yeti hug break. Everybody go hug yo Yeti and show yo Yeti some love.
Okay. So how do we want to do this? And I was trying to decide. So, like, this is the magic item list that we've got. And of course, we can come up with a more complete magic item list. But like in this next game, they got 4 scroll spells: detect magic, fireball, magic missile, and clairvoyance. 7 potions of healing, 2 + 1 daggers, 1 elixir of health. Now, this we're not going to worry about because I want to do this with the gold and silver. I'd like to do this with poker chips. Longsword +2, mace +1, potion of invisibility, and ring of invisibility. And so I was trying to decide. Well, See, why did I go down when I clicked on mics? See, yeah, index cards are a pencil. Or you're looking for. Well, I would like to be able to ultimately print something up on make playing cards. Now that's not going to be in time for them to play, but I'm trying to decide like what type of how do we do this? And the first question I think you have to answer is, do you need to draw? Draw a treasure. Now, because in this case, this is going to tell you, do you need a common back, right? Do you need a common back to the cards? Because if you're going to be drawing, now in this case, in this particular case, I know I'm not because it's already set up, right? But as we go, like what would I ultimately want to print or something like that? If it's more like the Hero Quest treasure cards, where you're going to search for treasure, then draw the top card, then if you're playing a game like that, then you probably do want them to have a common back on them because you're going to need to be able to draw them. But that means that we can't use the back for some different kinds of information. Philip says, okay, I'm just not going to be able to put. I mean, I guess you're seeing that too. I guess I'm just not going to be able to put people's comments up on the screen at the moment because StreamYard isn't behaving. Philip says, I'd like to use card sleeves, Magic the Gathering cards as stiff backs, and then put the paper cards in. That would be an easy way to play test. And the Lord of the Rings, the roll cards, the Lord of the Rings game. Because we can print, because I've got these. I mean, for practicing with the boys, we've got these, which is what these are cheap on Amazon, and I can print stuff out too, and then glue them to these cards. So that's also an easy way to create some. To create some test cards, although the card sleeving also works. Do you need a common back? Okay. Is this yes or no? Okay. The problem with using the common back is that, well, now you don't have the back to put information on. BGD, I forgot. I can't touch it. BGD says, in my humble opinion, the most important aspects for RPG item ability design is to establish a graphical standard framework for the design that's consistent but also sufficiently flexible. You have to plan for your you have to plan for your real estate ahead of time to work for the most situations. Yeah, do you have a great example one? Yes, I am writing with the this is my favorite kind of pen here. I would like to be able to use the back. So you could use back. Let's see. For unidentified items. So, for example, like the dagger. See, one way you could do this is like with the dagger here, put the back here is everything you know before identification. And you just have to trust your players that they aren't going to turn the card over. Now, especially like during cleanup or something like that. And because the item could go unidentified for a long time. Back, everything you know before identification. And then the front after identification. that's one way. We're talking about pens. We're talking about hats. This is amazing. But then you have to be sure that people are not going to turn the cards over. But the back is secret. And I don't think that's ultimately going to work. Especially if it goes unidentified for a long time, because somebody's just going to turn it over accidentally. I mean, there's going to be an accident where they find out what it is. John says, "Good morning, everyone. I love the idea of magic items and spell cards. I make them for my own characters and index cards. Makes keeping track of them so much easier." This goes to what this goes back to what BGD was talking about. What size? What size cards? Do these need to fit slots? Of different sizes, of certain size. And, by that, I really love the dashboards like that Zombicide has got. And ultimately, I would love to be able to do some type of, dashboard for characters in an RPG that is sitting there and it's mainly card based. So you've got, something like the Zombicide large card that's telling you something about your character here. But then, what do you have in your left hand? What do you have in your right hand? These slots up here for like what's in your backpack or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. But if that's the case, then I was thinking in that case, like with Zombicide, because you've got these different cards, these need to be mini card size. I'm pretty sure, which would mean, therefore, that like magic items also need to be magic card size, mini card size, magic card size. Magic items also need to be small. Because if you got a magic sword, if you got an ordinary sword, you drop it here into your item slot. Then something like your long sword over here also needs to be able to drop into that exact same slot, right? So that would kind of also, well, yeah, and I guess what is going on? Okay. I guess that means we need to make a mini card size. If we're going to do some layout here, a mini card size. Because they're going to be going into, like, potentially going into a backpack or something like that. I do like cards. Hey, good morning, PH. So Dicetail says a dashboard for managing encumbrance and what you're holding is a great idea. Well, thank you. See, I think that, I mean, I like character sheets that can be on half a sheet like that, like that size character sheet. So if you had a character sheet, but then also like a little dashboard that helped you manage your cards, because I mean, I love cards so much. I do love the system that, like some kind of zombie card, side card. And you could also prototype this with, just laser cutting. I mean, you could 3D print it too. I'm not 3D printing right now, but I'm going to have to eventually. But you could also, you make this pretty easily out of a file and laser cut this out of wood, and then drop that in there. So that's an argument that therefore all of the magic items should probably be mini card size. And what have you got to put on it? Let's see. BG says, I dropped a decent example from ICRPG in your Discord. This is okay. Let's take a look at that format. Okay. 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 Let's pull this up. What happens when I do this? Who knows with StreamYard right now? Okay. Okay. How about that? Okay. So here's an example of the format of the item cards I tend to like. I found this example from ICRPG on Reddit. I do not know who created them. They have clear tiling, portrait orientation, and large evocative image for quick recognition. Yep, definitely have to have, the space for the art. Eva suit, +3 armor, breathe anywhere, immune to fire, radiation, cold, and bio agents. Armor. Is that like requiring a Dex 12? Is that Heart 1, perhaps Heart 1 to like destroy it or something? Whiskey Gar. Heal to full hit points, become invulnerable for all harm for 1d4 rounds. Food. Heartstone, add 1 heart to your max. Item 1. Item 1 heart. Con 12. Yeah, I like these two. I like these two. Yeah, Moss Ritter also uses the dashboard kind of thing. This is a very complicated discussion. This is probably not what people were thinking of when they're thinking about card game design here. There probably needs to be like some kind of hierarchy of cards to control what BGD is talking about right here. Because, like, let's say you've got maybe the well, the upper level could be item. Actually, somebody said like right here. So here's another way to do it, and I didn't mean to skip this right here. Somebody said, oh, Mike, it was like, what about a card with an item and an identified version on another card? Now, this is what I would. This is another way to go. Because do you need to be able to randomly draw treasure? Okay, in like an adventure game, probably yes. In an RPG like this, you're probably drawing it before. But an alternate idea would be what Mike just said. Especially if you did need to draw, then like, the back could be, standard back. And then the front could be unidentified. Okay. And then a separate card, standard treasure or equipment or whatever you're calling it. And then over here, we have a separate card, which is some kind of back. And this might help the game master organize, like by saying like, level 3 treasure. Okay. And then the front is identified. That could be a cool way to go. Now that doubles the amount of cards that you've got to have. It also stops it prevents the situation that you actually have a player cheat, which most of us are not going to be cheating. But when you have like the 8 or the 9-year-old, there's going to be a tendency to look at to see if I can take a sneak peek at the other side of the card. But also there's that. But then also this also this also stops accidents. Which is more what I would be worried about, because especially if you're cleaning up your cards, I'm thinking about like storing the stuff in like an envelope or something. You put your character back in an envelope as you're putting them up, as you're getting them back out. Which side do you put them on, intentionally or accidentally? This stops that. Does double the number of cards here. And also an advantage, I guess I'm thinking about that. Okay, we're going to need to go in this direction then. In this case, you do have to draw kind of twice. So this could be more like a player draw. Whereas this is more like the DM draw. Of the cards, right? But then also you don't have to you don't have to draw these at the same time. You can say that, okay, we found this particular kind of longsword and what it looks like. We don't really have to identify it specifically at that time. The game master can come up with that later. That also, let's see. Oh, BGD says it looks like the game master made those customize some of the mechanics beyond what rules is written, but the example is a sound one. Yeah, TSL Frumman says, yeah, digestible amount of information per card and how much can be will be arrayed in front of you is worth conceptualizing. What will a full kit look like spread out in front of you? This also an advantage here. I was trying to think about. I think you could get pretty fancy with this. So, like this right here would be like you could have, and of course, I like having multiple versions of a card in a deck because that's one of the weaknesses. There'll be like one short sword in some of these uh, equipment decks that we see or something, and I want to be able to hand. Of course, that's great if you're just putting the short sword on the table for everybody's reference. But what if you're trying to actually hand everybody a short sword, which is what I would be trying to do? Like here, we could come up with multiple longsword descriptions. Which would be fun, card size, whatever, but what's on the hilt, what's on the blade, all of that. You can come up with multiple longsword descriptions. You could have multiple longsword cards here. And then that could be paired with any type of identified longsword. So you get a whole bunch of variety in here. And I suppose you could keep that card because this card would tell you something about the magic, the actual physical look of the longsword and what you can tell without identification. And then this tells you what you would know with identification. Then I suppose you could keep them with you. Keep that. Then you would have two cards that represent the same sword, but I guess you could put them in the same kind of slot or something like that. I don't know. Advantages and disadvantages to all of these different things when you're trying to work physically, but that does allow you to mix and match different physical descriptions with the magic descriptions right there. But you're right. So BGD is also talking about less is more when it comes to item and ability cards, but icons, color cues, if available, really help for quicker reference. Yes. BGD is advocating keeping the back of the cards the same. So yeah, if we're talking about like what needs to be on it, okay, so this is what I was talking about, or started to talk about a moment ago. If we're talking about equipment cards, like maybe that's our top level, but weapon cards, those probably need the most specific information. Armor, that needs different kinds of information. But any type of information that they all needs to be located in the same place. Exactly. Mike says, like a blade with a golden hilt and flame-like runes etched along its length, capable of summoning searing waves of heat in battle. Yeah, like that's what you feel when you use it. Exactly. Or a dark steel longsword with a blackened blade that absorbs light. Right. Yeah, that's what you put on the unidentified side. I mean, that sounds fun to me. That sounds like, I mean, imagine handing that to one of the boys. I mean, that would be fun. And then you also have the additional element that you don't exactly know what it does yet. So, right, writing all of those kinds of things sounds like a lot of fun. And I agree also that spell and ability cards can be just as useful as loot item cards for players. I love all of the different kinds of like reference cards right here. And yes, duplicating them is drafting your own DIY item deck. I would think what you could do, like if you're trying to if you are trying to drew like a random treasure kind of draw thing, which I don't think is bad, because I'm also thinking about this. Okay, like why would you build this deck? So I'm trying to do two different things here. I realize that, like I frequently am. Is that here? Okay, you can pull. If you got the card sitting in front of you, the game master, and you're trying to prep, and you want to, hey, I want a fireball, I want a magic missile, I mean, whatever. Pull the deck out. But also, I think you want to be able to create a treasure deck that is suitable for whatever type of level dungeon you're going into. Like we're talking about like an adventure kind of game, or if we're talking about running like a 2 or 3 hour one shot, you got your we've talked about like using the cards like in Warhammer Quest to generate the dungeon, which I think is a really cool idea. And then you also want to be able to generate what kind of treasure is in there. And in that case, you probably do want gold and silver cards. But if you're trying to construct that deck, you need to have like on the front of them, not on the back, but something that tells you, is this standard treasure? Is this level 2 treasure? Whatever. That's what BGD was talking about. That way you can build a deck and set it there to draw with. So like this is yeah, like level of equipment. Or genre of equipment. And by genre of equipment, I mean something like, ice quest, or I don't know, something else. So that if you're like, hey, so in order to build up the treasure deck for this particular dungeon you're going into, take the standard treasure deck and then also shuffle in all of the level 1 ice quest treasure. That way you have some thematic, or thematic might be also a good word for that, like thematic equipment in the game. So things that would need to indicate are I hate using the word level exactly. Level you use it for so many times, but level of treasure that needs to be indicated. Theme or genre. Bulk. I want to use bulk instead. Hey, Swords and Stones. Good morning. Some kind of bulk. That's important. Then that's probably important for everything. So like at the highest level, okay, equipment bulk. Like what is a generic word for something that is worn? Maybe item. Maybe item is a top level. Because like these things right here, is it equipable? If it's armor, you're going to need to know location. If it's equipable, then you're going to need to know location. If it's armor, you're also going to need to know, your, however you're dealing with armor value, right? If it's a weapon, you don't have armor value, but you're probably going to need to know damage. And if the equipable, if this location is taking one-handed or two-handed right there, you would need to know damage. So there's going to be some type of flow chart right here. Right, bulk, yeah, bulk being something like 1 slot, 2 slots, 3 slots, something like that. And we want that to be easy to reference, because like if you've got something sitting in a dashboard and you know that, okay, your equipment, because I want that to be easy. I mean, I want inventory and equipment to matter, but I also want it to be really easy to track. So if you just know, looking at this right here, I got 10 inventory slots, then on these cards, you really need those, you need that bulk value, how many slots it is, really easy to see, because that's, the title of the card. I mean, everything also needs the title of the card. And then the image. It's a lot, like tags. What if what if you're using some type of like, tag mechanism like Pathfinder uses? Level, treasure, theme, bulk, and then down here, what you would need is your icon for one-handed, two-handed, whatever, armor, whatever. Oh, see, this gets complicated fast. Dicetail says you need to know both bulk and mass. Well, when I was thinking about like bulk, I was thinking of that in terms of slots, because it's not, the how many slots does it take? Because you could have a really light item, but it's like this large thing, so it's difficult to carry. Some different encumbrance systems I've seen uses that. You could just use slot instead of bulk. Use the term slots, but use bulk instead. And then start to have different things down here at the bottom, and then also some kind of text. Some kind of text box. And that is a lot, especially if you're going to put it on a mini card. Oh, you're right. See, BGDs also says right here, under some systems, is this going to take? Yep. See, I still can't do that. Under some systems, melee weapons are specified with a reach or combat range, and most combat weapons are listed with that. Might be a helpful stat to include. Yes, weapon damage, also range. I really like distinguishing weapons by, damage, by range, and then also some other type of tag, especially if you were doing class-based damage. Some type of range as well. Let's take a look over here. How long have we been going? Let's take a look over here at zombie side, but also, hey, let's take a look at where's like this is the old school essentials player's tome, advanced fantasy right here. Does this have like some magic items in it? Magic, cleric spells, adventuring, and let's see. Well, don't know if we actually have magic items in here. I would like to be able to pull some from here. Index of spells, though. Let's take a look at the zombie side cards. Okay, got zombie side green horde right here. Here we go. The middle boy got zombie side green horde for Christmas. So these are the mini card size. The mini card size may be too small, but if you're trying to do like a dashboard kind of system, ultimately, these are the mini cards. So like this right here. These tell you, they use extensive icons right here, which I like. Something to point with. Okay, so they've got, okay, this means like it can be dual wielded. I believe that's the symbol for dual wielding. And then I believe up here as well, we've got like indicators of what level you can be in order to use this item. So this is blue, yellow, orange, and red. And so this is telling you have to be at least yellow in order to use this item. And then it's equipable in the hand, right? Picture, icon about whether or not it makes noise, range, number of dice to roll, what you have to roll in order to inflict damage, and then the damage that inflicts. It says Vault, add +1 damage to another equipped melee weapon. I mean, it would be nice to be able to do them larger, more like, bridge card size. But if they're equipable, this kind of makes more sense. Green Horde treasure cards. Okay, I thought there was another symbol over here for two-handed sword. Great axe is one. So I thought that would have been two-handed swords. Like, this is whether or not it can take down a door or not, and whether or not it makes noise when it takes down the door. So there's a lot of information on these cards. See, this one doesn't allow two-handed or dual wielding. I thought there was a symbol for two-handed. Maybe it's in a different version of the game. Maybe they got rid of that for this one. So here is like armor. It's easy. This tells this different slot right here. So this doesn't go in the hand. It goes in the armor slot right there. Salted meat, that goes in the backpack. So I was a little bit inspired by something like this. That's a lot of information. It's a tiny card though. How do you feel about that? But if you're manipulating a lot of cards at the table, the mini card's probably the way it's going to have to go. But we just listed a lot of stuff that's got to be on this card. But it's probably going to have to be on this card. Some of it in icon format and then color format. So Mike says those cards use visuals to communicate more information as opposed to words that might need more to do the same. Yeah. So the iconography and the symbology, it needs to be in the same place like BGD is talking about. So then you need to come up with some type of yes, this is much more complicated than just writing it down on an index card in the beginning. Which is probably what I'm going to do for the boys or something like that. Probably type it up and then glue them onto those other blank cards. But come up with your template. And that's why your hierarchy of cards is important, because you want this. If it needs to appear on a card, then it needs to appear in the same location. So maybe going down the side could be a good idea too. Keep the picture. You want the picture. I mean, you got to have the picture over here. Some type of the description is the key part, because writing those really fun descriptions like Mike was talking about, like the dark steel longsword with a blackened blade that absorbs light. Like, where are you going to put that? Like, if everything needs a weapon, if everything needs a title, and everything needs a bulk, or a slot. Maybe that's the thing you do. Maybe this is icons that are going down. So most common icons, and by that I mean most common to all cards, most common icons on this side going down to specialty icons. That way. When I was talking about level of equipment, like when I was talking about like not necessarily like what level your character has to be, but like, what level of the dungeon would you find this, or level or rarity. So put 2 level 2 level 2 rarity level 2 cards or something like that. Rarity and this sounds more like the identified version. Because if it's the unidentified version, then maybe you've got more. I mean, you would still need, your. You might know the rarity at that point, but bulk equipable. But you wouldn't know some. You wouldn't know some aspects of this card. Better with Bacon says, I hadn't even considered including some of this info these cards could have. There's quite a lot you could include. Paring it down for general specific game use would be an interesting task. Info on sides of the cards is good for fanning your hand. You can see lots of information that way. Oh, yeah, and you know what? If you're talking about fanning the cards, do left-handed people fan the cards differently? They might. That fanning the cards, that's interesting because when I'm thinking about fanning cards the way that I would fan them as a right-handed person, this side over here would actually be the one that I would see the most. So this right here, these icons should probably actually go on that side, and then the title would go over here. If you're left-handed, so I'm thinking about I'm right-handed, so I take my thumb and I fan the cards this way. If I were left-handed, would I fan them the other way? Yeah, I think I probably would. But anyway, but most people are right-handed, which probably means you put the icons over here. And then, yeah, if you put them on the table, then you would see and you stack them like this. Then you could see all of your pertinent information icons down the side here, and then also the title of the card over here. That's probably what should happen. And then also if it's inside that the backpack, I like having. Let me show you these. So this is the kind of thing that I like, and if I were in like an adventure game, which we've talked about, then I'd want something like this. So this tells you right here. This is your dashboard. I think this would be fun to have for especially any kind of adventure game like Hero Quest. But then I wonder if you can make it work for an RPG as well. What is everything that you need in Zombicide? You got your character. I started to get my office under control, and it's becoming a mess again. Well, your big character card sits right here. And then this is a hand slot. You might see that's got the exact same token right here that's the icon that's here. So the hand token is here, and the hand token is up here or on this plastic. So there we go. That right there. And then, a speed. Spell in that hand. I don't know where the big character card is that sits right here, but then the character card sits right there, and then everybody's got an armor slot as well. So there might not be any. No, there's armor. So there's chainmail armor. So the armor sits right there, and then this up here is your backpack. And so if you've also got a quiver of arrows, or you've got another crossbow that you're not using right there, this is, instead of using some kind of bulk system, it's just giving you the number of slots that you can hold. Death Gale right here. So I'll just set that right there. So those are the number of extra items that I could possibly have because I'm limited by the slots that I've got. Norse Shield. So I could swap out here. This Norse Shield goes into the hand right here. Great Axe and Norse Shield. And now it's active right here. And this right here is your experience. It actually has a built-in slider, which slides your experience. And then there's a square card that sits right here that has all of your basic character information on here. And then these are peg holes for the peg that tells you how many wounds you've got right over here. And then over here, this tells you, like, once you level up, you get special abilities. And your card has special abilities sitting on here. And so you put the peg next to the special ability that you want. So that's how this kind of dashboard system works. And I really don't want it to be any larger than that. which means the cards, I guess, if we're talking about layout, do have to be kind of small. And especially if you're talking about reference cards, now things that like a spell or an action like BGD was talking about, which can also be useful. And I think that you could make something like this as a prototype by laser cutting out of wood. Wouldn't be very difficult. You could draw that up in Illustrator and have that cut out and delivered. BGD says text and icon placement are complicated because most right-handed people probably fan the cards their left hand and then select with their right. Yeah, so that's what. Yeah, it does matter whether you're left-handed or right-handed. If you're trying to hold the cards in your hand, like if you're trying to set them down, it matters less. James is right. You don't have to replicate every detail of a given item for a reference on a written card. Like over here, let's also, before we go, these items over here, more specifically to the task at hand, which is running the Ghost of Harrow Hill. Like, what do you really need to know? Oh, see, I want the magic items. Where would you find magic items in this book? Yeah, the Dungeon Master's Guide, except for it's not. The magic items are explained in the monster manual. So we do have some things in here, like Mace of Disruption. This is a +1 mace with an extra power to hurt undead creatures. Skeletons, zombies, ghouls, shadows, and wights are instantly destroyed if hit by a Mace of Disruption. The mace is so good that this is such a good mace. Man, this is a good mace. This mace is so good that any evil creature trying to pick it up or use the mace takes 5d4 points of damage. For that particular item, that's probably that text you could probably reduce. Sword +1 luck blade. In addition to its combat bonus, the sword gives the user a +1 bonus to all saving throws. Gauntlets of ogre power. Horn of fog. This fog looks like a special trumpet made from an animal's horn, capped with a silver mouthpiece. When blown, a thick cloud of fog comes out. Each round of blowing makes 10 by 10 foot square of fog. The cloud lasts 2d4 rounds until the after the horn stops. So potion of health, elixir of health is something they're going to get in this one. This elixir cures blindness, deafness, disease, insanity, mental weakness, infection, and rot. It also gets rid of parasites and cures poison if the poison has not caused any points of damage yet. It does not get back hit points lost for any reason. Did we decide that we were identifying potions or not? See, it also kind of matters if you're doing it this way, how long, like this, with the two different cards, like how long is the card going to remain unidentified? If it's a potion and it's pretty easy to identify potions, like I think you would want them to know that there's like a potion of healing or something. Does it make sense to do the two different cards? It probably doesn't. I could use an elixir of health as well. Fortunately, there's been rain here, and so it's gotten rid of the pollen, but I still feel a little bit gravelly. So something like a potion of health, does this whole system going through this system really make a lot of sense? It still is fun because you have different types of potions over here, but then like descriptions, but you kind of want, maybe the potions of healing to always kind of be the same or something, especially if those are going to be something that it seems like an adventurer would know what a potion of healing is. They might not know, quite what the potion of the potion of speed or the elixir of health, those might not be as common. Oh, actually, I've never seen the kind of a rule for that before. Okay, you pick up this potion. Most heroes might be able to identify what a potion of healing is, but it might take a special like alchemist to identify a potion of speed. Hey, there's a use for alchemy. How about that? Now, of course, it's not making something, but it's identifying something. But there's some kind of usefulness for some kind of alchemical skill, although that could also be wrapped up in some kind of magical skill, like your ability to identify potions in the field. Instead of having to take those to someplace, because this could be something the alchemist could identify. And we said that most of the time, I was also thinking about these scroll spells, kind of eliminating read magic. Do you really need to identify? You may not need to identify scroll spells, especially if you're eliminating read magic. But what about just the common language? What if it's a kobold? Kobold shaman's spell. Do you need to read kobold? I was just thinking about that. I don't know, where was it going? Healing potion. So probably these just need to have, the potions and the potions of healing, the elixir of health, anything that I want them to just be instantly usable. Probably just need to have a card made that tells them exactly what it is. Whereas the stuff that really needs to be identified, the potion of speed, the ring of invisibility, the mace +1, the longsword +1, and the 2 daggers, those are probably the ones that need to have 2 different cards made up for them. The cool name, card with a description, and then just hand them a separate card later when they're able to identify it. So I would expect that these are not identifiable during the quest. The other ones are. Lots of potential cards to be made. Mike says maybe some type of treasure, for instance, potions or scrolls require the right type of class and intelligence check or something. Right. Yeah, I think that could be true. That could be the case too. Like any adventurer probably understands the potion of healing, but it might take special alchemist. If you're not doing skills, then the mage or the magic user might be able to identify the potion of healing or the ring of invisibility with some type of intelligence check or something like that in the field. That would be a very useful class skill. We talked about something like with the rogue, if we're doing that initiative system, the rogue as a class feature might be able to move faster than other people by having more than one card in the deck. They only take one action around, but they've got more than one card in the deck. I actually like the class skill for like the magic user, is in-field identification for basic item. For basic items. I do like that for basic common items. It's another reason to make sure that you have, something that would be missing if you don't have one in your party. All right, I'm actually going to go. I'm working on building a pavilion, so I'm going to go help people build a pavilion this afternoon. So there's a lot to do, and I have been, by the way, I've been working quite a bit more on TikTok. I took 2 classes. One of the things I did over the past couple of days is I took about 4 or 5 hours worth of class. Did that whole thing go down? I took about 4 or 5 hours of classes of like learning TikTok and how to market and stuff on TikTok. So I'm excited about that because I started making some of the short videos, and so I got even more information on that, and so I'm working on that as well. So, but at the moment, I gotta go work outside. So I'm gonna go build a pavilion. But this was a lot of fun. So that's current thinking on magic item cards. There's a lot to think about. Nothing is ever easy. All right, thank you so much for hanging out with me, everybody. Remember that the online crit convention is coming up, and we'll be working on some of that information here too on the grind, particularly get ready for Rabivania. All right, later, everybody.